Dear followers of MOC Network for Education and Development, you are welcome to this special edition of our program today. Today is the 5th edition of our program. So this evening, we want to thank you for the support that you've been giving MOC Network for Education and Development. We are very pleased and we want to sincerely thank you. Before we move on with the program today, I would just like to play with our followers that some changes were made last week. We have modified the time of the program or the day of the program to be Saturday, time 8 p.m. as at this moment. The reason being that we observed that a lot of people do not have time during the week to follow the show. So we've changed it. We shall henceforth be holding our program every Saturday, time 8 p.m. Concerning the name of the program, we also observed that a lot of people are following us who are not from MOC Kingdom, but they would like to understand what we are saying. So we have decided that some of the editions of the program shall be exclusively in English language, while others shall be exclusively in our local dialect MOC language. So this evening, by the grace of God, I will be hosting the program live here from Boya in the Studio 2, and my co-host, Mr. Njofie Wilson, will be participating through a telephone call. So this evening, we want to thank you, all the MONET team. We want to sincerely thank you for the support, because MOC Network for Education has up to about 20 members. Many people must have been seeing only 2 of us very active, and they think that MOC Network for Education and Development maybe is just some 2 people. MOC Network for Education and Development is counting a team of about 20 people who are currently working on the network. So we want to use this opportunity to thank all those who have been following us, our members, those who have been following us on Facebook, those who have been commenting on our page, those who have been sharing and all the like. We want to sincerely thank you. And we encourage you as you join us today in this special edition of the program. We want to say you are highly welcome. I can see that my co-host, Mr. Njofie Wilson, is already on board. I want to sincerely welcome you. And as we already know, due to network challenges that we've been having, it's not good. It's not very good for the 2 of us to connect at the same time. But by the grace of God, you shall be participating through a telephone call as well as the other participant. So this evening, our topic of discussion is the polygamous challenges in MOC Kingdom in the 21st century. The reason why we want to discuss this is because it's an issue. The fact that we shall be using MOC Kingdom as an example doesn't mean the challenges that we are going to discuss are only limited to MOC Kingdom. But what we must know is that these challenges, there might be some that are particularly for MOC Kingdom, but there are some that are generalized. So we want to thank you, and before we open our program to discuss what are these challenges, I will first of all like to throw more light on what we mean by the polygamous challenges. Polygamous challenges are those challenges that stem from the fact that someone is a polygamy. You got married to 2 or 3 or more wives, and definitely there will be some challenges that you shall be facing. So this evening, not only you as a head of family, the entire family will be facing some challenges. So this evening, we want to look at those challenges, and also we are talking about the 21st centuries because some of the difficulties that our parents are having, that the polygamous are having now in the 21st century, are slightly or totally different from what the polygamous parents in the 20th and the 19th century did face. So this evening we shall be focusing on the polygamous challenges in MOC Kingdom in the 21st century. So as we start the program today, we want to sincerely thank everybody that is already on board. We just want to encourage you to have your seat, and we shall open the line, and everybody who wants to participate, you will participate through a telephone call. So this evening, we shall be looking at the various polygamous challenges. What are polygamous challenges? Number one, in every polygamous home, it is been normal that there's always some sort of fighting. Fighting because the children of one woman will be fighting the other. Fighting because the first wife will be fighting the second wife, and likewise the second wife the first. And if there's a polygamous family that is having more than 3 wives, there is always that infighting among the people. So the number one polygamous challenges that we can identify in our society, which is common in the Mock society, is infighting among first the wives and the head of the family, the man, and secondly among the children. All this is because, you know, when it's already a polygamous family, there is diversity of thought. People think differently. And when people think differently, obviously, there is going to be a kind of, your ideology doesn't match with my own. And because of this, it will develop some differences, and it will result to fighting. So in the Mock society, we have our parents in those days, those dated back as 1960s, 70s. They never had a lot of polygamous challenges because in those days, the economic hardship was not there. In those days, our parents know that their duty was just to give birth to children, and it is the mother who will take care of the children, sponsor the children, and provide for the needs of the children. But today in the 21st century, it is a different story because of the economic hardship. And because of this, every polygamy is facing a challenge because first, you cannot provide for the need of all your children, and the first wife or the children of the first wife or the second wife, they will definitely feel that you are not taking care of everybody on equal basis. So number one challenges that we identify in every polygamous family is infighting among first the children, the wife and the wives and the head of the family, and then secondly the children. That is a number one capital factor that is not only found in a Mock society, but is found in every society where there is polygamy. It is a number one factor that everybody can identify. When we talk about polygamous family, obviously everybody will know that in every polygamous family, there is always that fighting amongst the members of the family. Then the number two factor that we can identify in a polygamous family apart from fighting is jealousy. In every polygamous family, there is always some sort of jealousy. Looking at it, when the father does something to this child, he said he's doing it because he's the child of the first mother, or is the child of the second mother, or is the child of the third mother. So because of that, there is always some sort of jealousy in a polygamous family. This is another important element that when you analyze a polygamous family, it is always there. People jealous of one another. Either the first woman is jealousing the second woman is jealousing the first woman, and likewise maybe the third and the fourth and all the rest. Those are some of the factors that are found in a polygamous family. Now, the reason why we are talking about this factor today is to shape the mind of our youth and any other person who wants to get into the polygamous family to know what awaits him, because there are people who just get up today. They feel like I should have 4 or 5 wives. And the question now is, have you first of all analyzed some of the consequences that you will be facing? Because these things that we are discussing might be looking very little, but they are taking a lot of people to early grave. Because when you are in polygamy, and then there are a lot of things that you can't handle, the next thing is you have high blood, and before we hear you are no more. So the reason why we are discussing these polygamous challenges is to let our people know, so that before you make your choice, you should be aware of some of the challenges that you are going to face. Now, we've already identified 2 polygamous challenges. We've identified the first one, which is fighting, the second one, which is jealousy. The third element that you will always find in a polygamous home is disunity. As I said before, when people are many, there is never some sort of unity, because people would think in a diverse manner. The way A thinks is not the way B thinks. The way B thinks is not the way C thinks. And the way C thinks is not the way Z thinks. So because of this, there is going to be a disunity. Firstly, because people will be either, there is jealousy. You are jealousing me, I'm jealousing you. And because of this, we can't share our opinion in a fruitful manner. So disunity is one of the elements of polygamous family. If you go into any polygamous family in Mock Kingdom, as well as any other places in our society, even in different places where we live, you will realize that every polygamous home has that component of disunity. But where it is a monogamy or monogamous family, you will realize that there is unity among the children. First, unity among the heads of the family, the husband and the wife, and unity among the children. You hardly find disunity. We are not saying that in the monogamous family it doesn't exist, but with limitation, it exists with limitation. Very few monogamous family you will find people who are very ununited. There is always that unity among them. They will all tailor their mindset to look at one direction, and they work together to achieve a common goal. But in the way it's a polygamous family, you hardly find people. We are sorry, the light has just gone off. The light has just gone off. So the light has just gone off. Please, just a second. I will be right back. We are very sorry. The electricity power failure has interrupted. We know the nature of electricity in Cameroon, and we are very sorry for that. The fault is not from us. The electricity has just gone off, so we just have to manage the candle that I put on. So as I was saying, in every polygamous family, there is disunity. You have people, there is always children, the father and the heads are not organized, and then there is disunity. You have children fighting one another, the father fighting another. We thank God the electricity is just back. You have the father and the wives, they are fighting. You have just like that. It's a component of a polygamous family. You hardly find it. You hardly find it in the monogamous family, but in a polygamous family, it is all like that. So we are looking into some of these factors because these are the kind of things that affects our functioning of society today. You hear today it has contributed to the death rate. You hear today people died. The common question is, what has killed this person that I know? It's because some of these polygamous challenges, it gives people a kind of overthinking on daily basis before you realize they have developed some form of sicknesses and all the rest. When we look at another factor is favoritism. Favoritism, you can't lack it in a polygamous family, because in a polygamous family, the head of the father, no matter what, even in our kingdom, it has been a common practice that everybody who is from the polygamous family knows that the head of the family, the father, has a preferred wife or children. Favoritism. And it is this other component of favoritism that has also contributed to disunity. So for somebody who is a polygamous somebody, he can try to he can try as much as possible to reduce the rate of disunity in his polygamous home by trying to limit favoritism, because the more you practice favoritism, you are favoring one or other person, it provokes the other, and there's going to be a chaos in the family. Disunity will be the order of the day. So we are saying that favoritism is one of the factors. We've already seen other factors like jealousy, fighting, disunity, and now we've seen favoritism. Other factors that will not be lacking in a polygamous family, you have things like envy. Envy is never lacking in a polygamous family. When we hear that this one has passed maybe a public exam or entrance, you see an envy will come into the family. The others will start saying, but why must it be this other, why must he be the one? They hear that this one have grown up to the point where he has maybe bought a car. They say now they are succeeding, our own home, our own household is not succeeding, and all the like. Apart from jealousy, all of that, it brings an envy. So in a polygamous family, you will hardly lack an envy situation. People will envy one another, and this envy up to the point provoke what we call killing. Killing mystically, because there are people within the family that, because of the polygamous family, in some family, you even have it up to the point where they move on to what we call witchcraft practices within the family. Those are the challenges of a polygamous family. And before we move ahead, there is, I would like to say that another important factor is lack of proper education. When you go to more kingdom or around the world, you will realize that in every polygamous family, it has been a challenge. It has been a challenge because of the favoritism of the head of the family. He tends to sponsor a children of one woman than the others. Because of this, you will see that there are some children that are educated in a polygamous family, while others are not educated. And now the question you tend to ask yourself is, why is it so? Why is it that some children are educated and the others are not educated? The reason is just that the head of the family, who is the father, practices favoritism. And when he practices favoritism, in his policy of selecting who to send to school, he will not do it in an appropriate manner. And when he doesn't do it in an appropriate manner, at one time there is disequilibrium in the family, because children of one woman or other women will go to school, while the children of the other women wouldn't go to school. So you realize that it affects the education in the family. What I am saying is, many people will look at Mok society as well as in other society in the world. You will realize that in a family where the head of the family had about 4 wives, 10 wives, you will realize that they are children of a particular women that attended education, while that of certain women did not even attend education. The issue here is about distribution of resources. When a head of the family has limited resources, he himself, in his policy of who to send to education, becomes selective, and by that policy, some children misses their own opportunity to attend education. And when they misses their own opportunity to attend education, they become committing what we call juvenile delinquency. They become stubborn children. Some become rascals, doing terrible things in our community. So we are saying that in order to limit such kind of things, one of the most important things that the head of the family should do is he should try to be inclusive in his policy of selecting children who will go to education. Another factor of that affects a polygamous family or another polygamous challenges is all about finance, economy. We realize that we are in the 21st century and the economy is very hard. We see that in the 1960s, 70s, basically foodstuff in the village in Mok Fosimode was very common. But today, even in the village, if you don't work hard, you won't have anything to eat. These are some of the challenges that when you come into our community, you are going to have it, which is also found in many other communities. In those days, we had parents who had up to about 7 children, 7 wives, 8 wives, and they didn't have any problem in that, because the wives themselves could do something in order to take care of themselves and their children. The head of the family knows his own responsibility was only to bear those children and allow the mother to take care of them. But today, with the challenges that we have today in our society, it's very, very difficult to have women who will accept that they will get married to a man who is not even providing a basic need of hers, not to talk of that of her children. So today we have economic hardship that has affected our society, and we are saying that these challenges, when you come into our polygamous home, they are always there. And one of our reasons for bringing up this particular topic is about to sensitize our community that before you make a choice between polygamy and monogamy, you must take into consideration these factors, because these are the factors that are going to let you live a longer life or live a shorter life. The more you are in a polygamous family and some of these factors keep coming up, you wouldn't say that you never knew before you get there. But should you have known before, maybe you would have made a choice between polygamy and monogamy. We want to say that polygamy has, before the 21st century, was not a problem, because we can say that in our community, Mok Fosimondi, or Mok in general, talking about Moglete, talking about Mombe, and talking about Moglelang was not actually a problem, because in those days we had enough foodstuff in the village, agriculture was booming, and all the rest and all the rest. Mothers were at their own time capable of using agriculture to take care of their own children. Even in our community today, it's still the same thing, but with a change of mindset of people. Today, you hardly find a young girl who will go marry a man and say, okay, I'll just marry you, I will do farming to take care of myself without you providing a basic need. Though we know in our community there are people, there are women and girls who can do it, but just the change in the mindset of the community or the society already made it for everyone to know that when you get married, it is your responsibility to take care of your wife and children. So because of this, the mindset of people has evolved over time. And most of the people in our society today, most of the young women who get married today, they know it is the responsibility of the heads of the family to take care of them, irrespective of how wealthy they are. Even they themselves, the wives, they might be very wealthy, but because they just put it in their mindset that it is the responsibility of the head of the family to take care of me and my children, most of them, they keep on giving you pressure. They keep on giving you pressure. So we are analyzing this factor to let our people know some of these challenges, because when you get into a polygamous home, these are factors that you are going to encounter. You are going to encounter fighting. Every day you must be there as a head of a family to resolve problems. Even if the problem is not between you and your wives, it will be between you and it will be between your children. If not between your children, among the children themselves, is between children and the other mother and all the rest and all the rest. It is found in every polygamous family. Nearly every, I can't say every, but I can say at least 95% of polygamous family functions that way. There is also an aspect of disunity that we've already discussed about it. You have children, there's disunity, the wives themselves, disunity. You who is at the head like a man, you find yourself in a situation where sometimes you don't know how to reconcile people because the disunity is just too much. A is fighting A, B is fighting B, C is fighting D, and all the rest and all the rest. Another factor we have discussed here is jealousy. Jealousy is never absent in a polygamous home. You find A just jealousing B for nothing. When B has something, A begins to think that it belonged to me. It should have belonged to me. That is another factor that is found in a polygamous family. Then when you look again, there is also another aspect, which is envy. People tend to envy one another. People tend to envy one another. Every time you hear that this man has this, you begin to look at it. Why is it not my own? Why does it not? Why must the children of this one pass a public exam, not my own children? And as a result, I said they go up to a point where people start practicing spiritism in the family. You have people already going to Gambe house, going to so and so place because you want to go and maybe block the other person. Why the other children are progressing? Why not me? Why not me? Tomorrow here this one bought a car. Instead for you to come and celebrate, you begin to say that, oh, why must it be the children of this one? Why must it? These are all components that are found in a polygamous family, and anybody who is, any father who is a polygamy must be ready to do with these things. We've talked about lack of proper education. The head of the family, because he himself does not have the mind to sponsor all the children in a polygamous family, they turn around to do selective policy. Choose who to send and choose who not to send. And because of this, their policy is always based on particular people in the family, particular women, not inclusive approach. They don't use an inclusive approach. And because they don't use an inclusive approach, some children misses their own opportunity of attending education. And of course, when some children don't attend education, these are the same children that will become vandals. These are the same children that will become, they will be committing juvenile delinquency in our city day and night. You hear them, they do all things, smoke cigarette, drink all types of beer and all the rest. So these are some of the factors. And we've talked about economic hardship. Today we are in the 21st century, and all of us know the pains that it takes in order to maybe be the head of at least 10 people in a household. It's very difficult with the economic hardship that we are going through. But today we still find people who goes for polygamy and give birth to children up to about 20 and the rest. These are factors that they are going to be facing. So our goal is not to discourage polygamy in this program, but rather to put it in our face to face so that we analyze things. Like we used to say that life is just a matter of choices. Before you make any choice in life, you must first of all do an analysis to see whether it is a better choice. There are people who prefer polygamy. There are people who prefer monogamy. But our rule here, like Mock Network for Education and Development, our rule is to sensitize most people about, even not only more people, but the general public about some certain sensitive issues in our community. So that before we take any decision, before we carry out any decision, we must be able to analyze the consequences that will come after that decision, so that when you analyze the consequences before you go for it, your mind is well prepared, so that when those challenges come up, you will be able to meet up with those challenges. But if you do not do a proper analysis before you get into it, when those challenges come up, you won't be able to handle it. So as I'm saying, life is all about choices, and everybody makes his own choice. I cannot be, maybe I'm for polygamy, I discourage somebody who is for monogamy. But we must analyze things, put it in the table, so that in making your choice, whether to be a polygamy or to be a monogamy, you know the consequences. Sorry, the network has just gone on its back. So we are saying that our goal here in analyzing this thing is not to discourage polygamy or to encourage it, but rather to put ahead of us all the challenges that are involved in polygamy, so that in taking your decision, you should be able to have done analysis and know where you are going to, so that when such challenges come up, you will be in the position to have remembered that all what we are doing here is just like a premarital counseling, trying to tell people what will happen when you get there, so that when you get there now, it shouldn't happen and you begin to say that, oh, I never know about it, I never know it is like this. But if you should have had some pre-thought about what you are about to engage into, or you have even done some, hear some people talk like we are talking, you know exactly where you are going to, and before when you get there, you will be in a position to best handle the situation, because at least you've gotten somewhere that these are some of the challenges that you were going to face. So with this, I come to say that I shall be putting up the telephone number, so that for our viewers who are online, you can call us, and then you give your own contribution to this topic. So I'm just put in the number so that I can pin it on the board. You call live, and then you give your own contribution about the topic of today. So I've just pinned the number right there on the board. If you are following us, dear participant, as you are following us, you can call live and then you give your own contribution to the topic. But meanwhile, we are waiting for our brother, Mr. Njofie Wilson, to call. The line is already open. You can call live and you give your participation. But we are waiting for Mr. Njofie Wilson, one of our co-hosts of the program. You can call using the number that is pinned on the board, and then you give your own contribution. So while waiting for our callers to call, I will just summarize what I've said. We have said that in a polygamous family, you have fighting amongst the children, the women, you have disunity, you have jealousy, you have favoritism, you have envy, you have some children won't go to education because maybe the head of the family lacks money to send everybody and tend to be selective in his policy, and we have economic hardship. People will not be able to meet up with their need because the family is large and the head of the family cannot take care of everybody. So those are the challenges that are found in most polygamous family, not only in the Mokfosimone kingdom, but in all other kingdoms around the world, or in all other society around the world. So if you are just joining us, like Prince Kanglifang Njofie, who is just joining, Mr. Fuzoy Brian, who is just joining, the line is already open. The number is pinned on the board. You can call live to give your own contribution about the topic of discussion of today. We are looking at the polygamous challenges in Mokfosimone Kingdom in the 21st century. We've already analyzed those challenges, and we've looked back into in the days of the 20th centuries. We've realized that it was not a major problem in our community, because in those days, basically foodstuff and everything was free. People could do farming to feed their family, and basically everything was free. But today, we have seen that farming alone, and even the change in the society structure, most women know today that it is a responsibility of the family head to take care of them. Meanwhile, in those days, our mothers know that they got married in order to do farming and take care of themselves and their children. But today, the trend has turned all around, and it's very different. The way in which we live in 21st century is different from that of the 21st century. So we are waiting now for Mr. Njofie Wilson. As you are following us live, please, you can call live and give your participation, or any other viewers, you can call live and you give your participation on the topic. But while waiting for people to call, we have a talking point. We have a talking point in our program that we started examining in long ago. And the talking point is, should a Mogma return to a village when he or she is broke? If you are living in a town and you have been doing business to feed yourself, and at one particular moment, business is not more moving well, should you continue to stay in town or return to the village in order to look for better opportunity? We want to thank our brother, Mr. Njofie Wilson. Last week, he gave the economic potentials that are found in Mok Kingdom. He started by analyzing the agriculture. He went further to talk about petty businesses. He went further to talk about what we call Ben Skinner in quote, transportation. He went further to talk about labor. Those who go to farm and work, at the end of the day, they receive their payment. There are many, many more opportunities that are being found in Mok society. So the question the talking point of today is, if a Mogman is broke, you have been in town doing business, taking care of yourself, and at one moment you went bankrupt. Should you return to the village or continue to remain in town while trying other things and believing God that God will help you for you to stand again? That is our talking point. So any person watching the program, we are waiting for Mr. Njofie Wilson, who is also a co-host of the program, to come on board, share your perspective on this particular program that is called Mock Perspective. We want people to share their perspective. Let's hear from everybody. Just share your perspective. Say whatever you want to say. We've discussed today about the polygamous challenges in Mock Kingdom, which is also a polygamous challenges that are found in most society today. And we have also gone to our talking point of today, and we are waiting for everybody. We are waiting for any other person who will come on board to participate. Meanwhile, while waiting for our callers, to call, I want to say that, just like I've said, this program is not meant to maybe make a selection for any other person. No, we are simply saying that our role is to sensitize the community. We are not telling you not to engage in a polygamous family. We are not discouraging you, but we are rather acting like premarital counselor. We are rather trying to let you know some of those challenges that you will face, so that when you get into that, you should be in the position to know that some of these things you were foretold before you got yourself into it, and you better remember what you got from us, and you know how you best go about it in life. So our primary rule here, coming up with such topic, is to sensitize our people, particularly the youth who are back home, because for those who have gone to education in Mock society, they've come to realize a lot of things. But our youth, they still have the mindset of walking in the path of those who were there in the 20th century, getting married to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wives. Now the question is, getting married to them is not a bad thing, but are you capable of handling all the challenges that will stem from there? That is the question. And trying to bring some of these challenges to our people, we are trying to do what we call community sensitization, sensitizing the community of Mock, as well as sensitizing all the entire Cameroonians and the way alive, so that before you make your choice, you should be able to know some of the challenges that you are going to face. So this evening, like we have already analyzed, while waiting for Mr. Njofie Wilson, please, we are waiting for your call as a participant. We've already discussed the various challenges that most polygamous people will find in their homes, or they will go through the various challenges. We have discussed point number 1 was fighting among the wives, fighting among the children, sometimes fighting even among the head of the family and the wives and the children. Everything is just you can't understand. We've discussed the second point, which is disunity. In most polygamous family, you mostly find disunity. Disunity will be there. So those are some of the issues that you will find in a polygamous family. And then we've discussed another point again. We've discussed another point again, which is envy. We've discussed jealousy, fighting, disunity, envy. We've discussed lack of proper education for the children, because some children will not go to school because the father don't have the means to send everybody to school, and they will tend to be selective in the policy of sending their children to education. We've talked about economic hardship. We've talked about economic hardship in the family. We'll talk about economic hardship in the family. We've talked about economic hardship in the family. We've talked about economic hardship in the family. The head of the family cannot take care of everybody, but because of that, he cannot take care of everybody. It will provoke a kind of a chaotic situation in the family, because people cannot feed well, and so on and so on. So, like I said, then the line is open. 654-578-601. That is the line. The line is open, and we are waiting for our callers. We are waiting for our participant, Mr. Njofie Wilson. We are waiting for your call, and we are waiting for any other caller. You can call live with the number that is being pinned on the board. you give your own contribution to the topic of discussion, and equally the talking point that we started some 2 weeks ago, some 1 month ago, and we are still sensitizing our people. Sorry, the line was slow. We thank God it just came back. So we are waiting, Mr. Njofie Wilson, we are waiting for your call. We are waiting for your call so that we can run on with the show. We are waiting for your call. Any other participant who is following the program, please call live and give your perspective so that people can hear you. People can gain from your experience. Most of us, we have experience as concerning what is polygamous family. All of us, most of us, if not most of us, we are from the polygamous family. And the topic we are discussing is not an extraordinary topic. It's a common topic. We are all from the polygamous family, and we have witnessed all these challenges that we have been discussing. So we want people to call live and give their perspective so as to educate the other people, to educate our youth, educate our youths who are still envisaged to become polygamous, so that they will know the challenges. They will know the challenges that are involved before they get themselves involved in a polygamous marriage or in a polygamy marriage. So please, we are still waiting for Mr. Njofie Wilson. We are still waiting for our viewers online. You can call live, give your own perspective, share with us so that we gain from your experience. We are still waiting. While waiting, I will just repeat what I have already said. Maybe I've seen that some people just joined that they were not there, so that they can catch up, and then probably they can call and share their own perspective. We are saying that in a polygamous family today, in our society more as well as in other society, we will have polygamous challenges. And what are some of the polygamous challenges? We have tried to identify them. We want to thank Mr. Fopeng Kave, who just joined, and encourage you, if you follow the show, you can call live and give your own perspective. There are a good number of people who are watching the show, and we are encouraging people. The number is pinned on board. You can call live and you give your own. You can call live and give your perspective so that others will hear you. So, Mr. Fopeng, you are welcome. And we are discussing the polygamous challenges that we have found in our society today, and using Mock for Simon the Kingdom as a point of reference. So we have just discussed that in a polygamous family, we have fighting. We have children will always be fighting, women's fighting, head of family himself at times get into trouble with the wives or children because of one thing or another. So fighting is one of the characteristics that is often found in a polygamous family. We move up to the second point of discussion, which is disunity. In most polygamous family, we have the spirit, I don't know what I call it, the spirit of disunity. If not all, then most polygamous family, there is not that sense of unity. In most monogamy family, you have the father, the mother, and the children all taking one direction. But in a polygamous family, you tend to have some people will be thinking this direction, others will be thinking this direction, and there is that disunity in the family. Then, apart from disunity and fighting, we have another aspect of a polygamous family, which is jealousy. When one will hear that this person has progressed to this stage, started being jealous, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Why the children of the other women? Why are they progressing? Why we are not progressing? And so on and so on. So there is always a component of a jealousy in a polygamous family. We have looked at the fourth point, which is favoritism. We've seen that the head of the family, who is the father, he will tend to be, because of the economic hardship, tend to be favoring some people than the other. In most polygamous family, for those of us who grew there, we know that a father always have what we call a preferred woman. A preferred woman is that one that the head of the family takes like the real wife, and the others are just there like subsidiary wives. It all exists like that, and the children of the preferred woman is always the one that the father will take care of them very well. It is one character of a polygamous family. You have a father, he chooses a particular woman that he loves so much, he likes to spend time with that one, and because of that, he tends to favor the children of that particular one very well, sponsor them, and the children of the other women, you see, because of that, he favors them, and it brings a lot of disunity and fighting. So we are discouraging that even if you are a polygamous, if you are a polygamy, we are discouraging the fact that never you tend to practice favoritism. Because when you practice favoritism, you provoke the spirit of disunity among the children, or even among the wives. You provoke the spirit of disunity. And then not only you provoking the spirit of disunity, you encourage fighting amongst the children, because children will tend to be fighting one another because they say that, oh, our father only take care of these other children, our father only take care of these other children, he doesn't take care of us. So when you tend to practice the policy of favoritism, you now give room to fighting among the children, jealousy, envy, all of those things will come up. So this is one of the key points that I want to stress on. If you are a polygamy, try as much as possible to be very democratic and very inclusive in your policy of in your policy, because the moment you try to exclude some people in whatever you do, whether it's sending them to school or whether it's providing their needs, you realize that when you practice such policies, it pushes people now to the family to disunite. It pushes people to become fighting one another. It pushes people to practice jealousy. It pushes people to become envy of one another. So this particular issue of maybe favoritism, the head of a family should try to look into that aspect. Now, the other aspect that we look at is lack of proper education or equal opportunity for children. Now, we look at in polygamous family, there are some particular children that always go to education, that always attend education. Why that of the other women will not attend education? Because the head of the family, because of his policy of maybe favoritism and the other, you realize that he will choose only some particular children and send them to school. Some will not go to school. So you realize that it doesn't give equal opportunity for everybody to go to education. So we are also encouraging that if you are a polygamy, you try as much as possible to do a policy of to have a policy of inclusiveness, include everybody in whatever you do, so that children can have equal opportunity to go to education. Now we look at the last point that we have just discussed. The last point is economic hardship. We are saying that the economic hardship today, taking into consideration the way in which we live today, is very difficult to have financial means to take care of a polygamous family. So because of this economic hardship, the head of the family will tend will not do equal distribution of resources, but will try to favor some people. When they try to practice that policy, it brings a lot of disunity. So with this, we've come to the end of that particular topic of discussion, the polygamous challenges in Mock Kingdom in the 21st century. I believe so much that by the grace of God, we have learned through this particular one. But before I go, I want to say that last week we started a talking point, which was if a Mock man is broke, you have been in town and you are doing business, and at one particular moment you are broke, should you continue to remain in town, trying other things, believing that God will help you to move ahead, or should you return home for better opportunities that are at home? Our brother last week analyzed a whole lot of opportunities, economic potentials, and opportunities that are found in Mock for Simone Kingdom. And our view here is to encourage that if there is any Mock man in town who is broke, there are a whole lot of opportunity in the village. We still call Mock for Simone Kingdom a village just because it is where we came from. So we are saying that in Mock for Simone, it's actually, it has grown to a point where it's a town, because when you analyze the economics activities that are being carried out there, it's a whole city, and the place there, electricity is there, water is there, secondary school are there, primary schools are there, nursery school are there. So almost everything that we have in the cities are found in the village. So with this, we say that we are encouraging any person, if you feel like you are in the city, living in the city, and things are not more working out very well for you, there are a whole lot of opportunity that you can go. Why not even encourage foreigners? If you've not been in Mock for Simondi, there are a lot of great opportunities that are available there for you. If you feel like in your own place where you are settled is not more moving there, we are encouraging you, go to the land of Mock for Simondi. We call it the land of plentiful. There's a lot of plenty things there for you. You go there, you can do agriculture. You go there, you can do petty trading. You go there, you can do transportation, using bike to transport people from one place to another. You go there, you can have opportunity of giving your labor. People will hire you to take you go work in their farm. So with this, we are wrapping up with the show of today. I believe that my co-participant, Mr. Njofie Wilson, could not participate, maybe due to network problems, and we want to sincerely thank you, and we encourage ourselves that our next show shall be coming up next Saturday. We will choose a topic of discussion. And then within the week we will post it in Mock Network for Education and Development, so that you follow us and you know exactly what is happening. We want to sincerely thank our viewers, our followers, those who have been supporting Mock Network for Education and Development. Like I said, it's a whole team of people working to promote the development of Mock Kingdom, the development of Mock Tribe in general, Mock for Simondi, Mock Lete, Mombing, and Mock Lilen. The goal of this network is to promote these places that I've just named, or the tribe of Mock, so that people should know them around the world. So we want to thank our viewers, those who created time to come on board to follow live, and those who will come afterward to follow this video. So we thank you so much, and we say until next week shall we meet. Bye bye. We love you. Take care.